Is it not written in your law that ye are gods? You understand what I'm saying? So it just depends on what level you own based on, whether you're human or whether you're immortal.
At ease. It's your boy Soul Immortal. You know, I hope that you guys have time this morning just to let me vent for a second, right? Because I really just want to share the things that have been on my mind for quite some while now. Now, so most of you know that, you know, if you've seen a number of my videos, you know that my dad was a pastor, right? So growing up in my household, you know, I've heard, you know, all of these Bible parables. You know, I've heard all of these stories, you know, throughout the Bible my whole life. You know, if it wasn't me hearing my dad just talk about it in home, you know, I heard him, you know, when he was preaching his sermons on Sunday mornings, right? So I've heard these things over and over. Now over the years, you know, a lot of these stories, you know, just kind of slowly started making sense to me. I kind of understood them and I could apply them to life, right? But there was one story that just slipped my mind. Like I really just missed the bus on the entire message that was being put out, right? And that was the message about the rich young ruler. Now, we're all familiar with the story, right? You know, the rich young ruler came up to the messenger, and in a nutshell, he was like, you know, I want to be down with your crew. You know, I want to move how you guys move, right? And it said the messenger sit back and said, well, you know, to move like we move, you know, to see the kingdom, I believe is what he said, right? He said, you know, you just need to be a man that's not stealing, that's not killing. You know, you're not out here cheating on your wives. You're not doing all these, you know, morally right things, right? And it said that the rich young ruler said, hey, like this is a cakewalk. Like I'm already doing these things, right? And then it said the messenger kind of just sit back and sized them up. It says, well, if you want to be down, if you want to move how we move, then go and sell everything that you have. You know, either sell it, give it away to the poor, and then you can be down with us, right? And then it said the rich young ruler just put his head down and turned around and walked off because he knew that he couldn't get rid of all these worldly possessions that he had, right? Now this I understood. You know the initial message, you know, that was being put out by reading this in my mind was saying that, you know, in order for a man to want to follow, you know, the righteous path, right? He must be able to give up all his worldly possessions, right? In my mind, I was like, in other words, that's just saying that a man doesn't love worldly possessions more than he loves wisdom, right? And I thought that was the message, right? But after some time, I was asking myself the question. I was like, well, why? I was like, well, if these things were a blessing to the rich young ruler, let's say the rich young ruler did everything right, and these were things he just manifested in his life, you know, and he said he was an upstanding man. So why should he have to get rid of these things to follow the messenger? And then it finally hit me. So I remember going to my grandmother's house, you know, when I was real young, man. And I think when I can start remembering going out there, I had to be around 3 or 4 years old, you know, when I could understand where I was going, right? My grandmother had a house in a small town called Gilmer, Texas, in a community called Lake Providence, right? And her house was at the bottom of 2 hills, right? Now, this is what I remember. I can remember even when I was that young, 3, 4, 5 years old, going to my grandmother's house. You know, I can remember my grandmother's house already being an old house. You know, I don't know what year it was built, you know, just a regular wood frame, older style house. I don't know what year it was built, but it was already old when I was 3, 4 years old. You know, I can remember, you know, the sound of the front door opening, the little screen door had, you know, a certain little squeak. There were certain, creaks in the floor. When you walk, you hear certain noises. It was just an older house, still in fair condition, but it was older. Now the thing is, after my grandmother moved, and other family members moved in there over the years, and we always had family in there, right? And even up until just a few years ago, the last time I went in there, that house was still in the exact same condition, the same creaks, the walls, same condition, the screen door still had the same little, and I didn't think about it, right? It just seemed normal that even, in an additional, what I was in my 30s then, from 3 or 4 years old up until my 30s, that house had just continued to stay in the same condition. Didn't think nothing of it, right? Until about a year ago, give or take, right? And I'm driving to Keller, Texas, up here in Dallas-Fort Worth, right? I'm driving to see a buddy, I was driving to see a guy that was selling something that I was interested in. I was getting ready to buy something from him, right? And I'm going out through Keller, Texas, and if y'all are familiar with Keller, Keller has some nice homes in it. And I'm going to this, this suburb area, nice homes. And then there's this area where it's just kind of like nothing but trees. And then there's this road that was to my left, and there was just this long straightaway. And on both sides of the road, there were nothing but houses that nobody lived in. Like large, and I would say, new style homes that nobody lived in. And I looked down it, and it looked like a ghost town. Grass was growing up, they were brick, they were complete, but nobody was living in it, right? So I was like, man, that just looks weird. It looks like a studio, like somebody was filming a movie down there or something, right? So I go and talk to the guy, and, and we handle our business or whatever. And I asked the guy, I said, well, what's the deal with this neighborhood up the road, man? Like it looks crazy. He said, yeah, man, there were some developers that came in, just like 2 years ago and started building these homes. He said, I don't know if they ran into financial trouble. I don't know if they had some kind of legal issue. He said, they just up and left. No realtor trying to sell the home. The home just been sitting there, stagnant, right? And I was like, that's crazy. And I'm thinking in my mind, all the money that was probably lost, right? So on my way back out, man, I'm headed back home. I turn down this road, right? And I'm driving and I'm looking at these houses. And I'm saying, this guy told me that these houses, were built just like, a year and a half, 2 years ago, when a developer moved in. I said, but man, these houses look like 50 or 60 years old. So I park, man, and I go in one because I think most of them were still unlocked. Doors up, they were brick, they were just unlocked, right? And I walk in, man, and these houses were nice, right? Wood floors, nice wood cabinets. And I'm looking at the cabinets, man, and it looked like the wood was just dried up. It looked like this stuff had been here, man, maybe 50 or 60 years. I'm looking at the hardwood floors, man, and they're separating, there's cracks. I'm just looking at the house and the walls, and man, this house, even though, I could tell by design that it was new, the newer style design, but this house looked like and felt like it was at least 60 or 70 years old, right? And I'm telling you, man, something this minor, man, just messed with my mind. So I'm driving home, and I'm like, how in the hell, like what? Like first I'm thinking about why they left, but then I'm thinking about the condition, right? And then something just hit me, right? I said, I get it now, man. And it went back to the rich young ruler. It went back to what the messenger was telling him, right? So when the messenger was saying, hey, you need to get rid of all these things and then you can roll with us, you can follow me. He wasn't really saying that you need to prove yourself that you can, separate yourself from these things. What he was saying was, these worldly things, they aren't bad. They're blessings, right? But you have to understand this. You have to understand these worldly things, whether it's a house, whether it's a car, whether it's a boat, whether it's anything that's worldly that we can attain. You have to understand that for these things to survive, they're living off of your life force. You know what I'm saying? In other words, I understood that the reason those houses, were in that bad condition is because nobody was living in it. You know what I'm saying? I understood that the reason my grandmother's house that had to be at least 100 years old, you know, when I was in my 30s, the reason it was still in good condition is because people always, you know, was living in it. You know, there was always life force being poured into those material things. So again, what the messenger was saying was, you know, these things aren't bad. It's just that, you know, you say you want to roll with us, but what you have to understand is, you know, the places we're going on a mental and spiritual level, we can't afford to have anything pulling from us, right? So that's why he was saying, go and get rid of your things, you know. So if you want to roll with us, you need to be just like us, you know what I'm saying? And then I thought about something else, you know, and I've shared this with a few people. I believe I've shared this with, you know, I believe I've shared this on a video or two, right? But there was a point in my life, there was a small window of time, I want to say about a 6-month block of time in my life that I can't even really explain. You know, even when I try to explain it to people, I can't even really put it into words, right? And it was some years ago. I guess it was, you know, I don't know what year it was, but I was living in Shreveport, Louisiana, right? And this is when I first started, you know, getting heavy in Neville and manifestation and all this stuff, right? So it was that time frame in my life, right? Now this is what happened. You know, I can just remember not really understanding why I felt so low in life, why I felt so drained. But I just wanted a new life. I just wanted, you know, a reset in my life, right? So what I did was, and I was really unaware of what I was doing, but I just started fasting from a few things, right? So I remember changing my diet, and I believe this was like for a 2-week period of time, maybe 3-week period of time. I remember changing my diet to where all I was eating was, you know, fruits and vegetables and pecans and teas and all that stuff, right? I did that. Another thing I did was I eliminated all rap music, right? And another thing I did was I meditated heavily on my free time. I would wake up in the morning, meditate. I would meditate on my lunch break, and when I came home, brother, I would meditate for hours, right? Now, this is what happened in a very short amount of time. I think I was doing this for about 2 weeks, right? This is what happened, right? All I can remember is this feeling coming over me, right? I'll tell you what it felt like. I had absolutely no fear of anything, right? I had absolutely no obstacles in life. Like, in other words, I could look at something I wanted to achieve and I saw absolutely no obstacles. It was like, if that's what you want, then just move in that direction and have it, right? Now, all of this was happening and I didn't really understand why. The only way I can describe it is if it felt like some kind of life high. Like there really are no words that I can make you understand what it felt like, except that I was tapped into, you know, the kingdom, right? Now, me being unaware of what this energy was, me not having, you know, some YouTube channel to listen to say, hey, you know what, this is what I'm experiencing. Brother, I was just living life reckless. And having all this power, let me tell you what happened in about 45 to 90 days, right? I went from living, you know, I was a district manager at an oil and gas company, paycheck to paycheck. I had an old truck that I had paid for. Love this truck, right? In about 45, 60 to 90 days, somewhere in that window, I went from living in this apartment in Shreveport, Louisiana, to move into this large, nice townhome that I saw that I just wanted. You know, it was brand new, and all of a sudden, you know, and like I say, in 45, 60, 90 days, I just thought about what was going on, and I looked, and brother, I had a driveway full of 2 or 3 cars. I had a garage full of a motorcycle and 4-wheelers. And brothers, I'm telling you, I almost don't even remember how it went from A to B. You know what I'm saying? But one day I was sitting in my backyard in this new townhome, and something just dawned on me. I was like, how in the world did my life change so much in the last, 60, 90 days? I said, I'm still at the same job. I'm getting the same income. I said, but I don't even think about money now. I said, I got a driveway full of cars. I had so many cars that I couldn't even park them in the driveway. I had to park my truck on the side of the road. I'd accumulated a couple of cars, motorcycles, and all this stuff. And I was like, what in the world happened? And all I can remember next is my life slowly, not even slowly, my life went back to where I was before, before all this happened, right? And the thing is, for the longest time, for years, I was always trying to get back to this place. I was always trying to get back to this high, and I couldn't really tap in. And I'm just now understanding why I couldn't tap in. The reason I couldn't stay tapped in is because these things that I had accumulated were now requiring life force from me, to remain in my life or to continue to be maintained, right? And that's all that the messenger was saying to the rich young ruler. And that's the thing that I just failed to understand. He wasn't saying, oh, you're a bad guy now because you don't want to get rid of your things. These things were probably a blessing to the rich young ruler. All he was saying was, if you want to roll how we roll, if you want to do the things we do, move how we move, then you can't have these things. But because the level that we go, require you to be free from a lot of worldly things, right? That's all he was saying. And the thing is, I look at my current condition now. Man, over the last, year, 2 years, I've made more money than I ever thought I would make, But it's almost like there's something been in my subconscious that kind of always low-key knew, hey, don't just go out and start chasing this world. There's something in me that kept me living a restricted lifestyle. Yeah, I probably spent a lot of money that I shouldn't have, but there's something that's kept me at bay, right? And I think it's just my subconscious, keeping me in check. I always read this part of this book. I'm not sure if it's the Master Key System or another book, but it says that at some point in time, a man will fall in love with the power itself, as opposed to the thing that the power can bring his way, right? And that's where I am now, man. When I get on the gram, if I get on the internet or YouTube, the things that used to attract me, they no longer attract me, right? And this is what I mean. When I see men or women or whatever that are well off, that have reached the financial level of success, it's no longer the people that have this money and now they're buying the Bentleys and they're buying the mansions, and these people no longer impress me, right? The people that grab my attention are the people that have it, but still live these simple lives. Because in my mind, I'm like, what is it that they know? Like what is it about them that's keeping them from going out and just wilding out? Because you would think that, with everybody that goes from no money to having money, you would think that, hey, when I get there, man, I'm just going to ball out. And the thing that intrigues me is when I see people, man, that are, multiple $100,000 or $1 million lifestyle, incomes, but they live these frugal lives. I'm like, I want to know what's inside their minds. I want to know what's inside their heads. And now I understand it. The thing that these people are experiencing is the same thing that I experienced years ago, except now they are aware. These people are aware of it, right? These people are on a high that you can't even explain. Where most people are looking for the material things to call it happiness, these people have found their happiness in the power itself, like the book said, right? So where I am now, man, and this is something I've been thinking about for several weeks, several days, a couple of months. You know, I'm just tired of things, man. You know, something in me, every day I wake up now, man, it's almost like I'm hearing the voice of the prophet in the back of my mind. It says, you know, get rid of everything. Because the thing is this, man, as far as a level of happiness, like I can get no happier than I am now. To be honest, you know, when I was living back, you know, in that 1-bedroom apartment in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I had everything and I first got in this power, I couldn't be no happier at that moment. So me living in a 1-bedroom apartment, me living in this house I'm in now, there's no difference in a level of happiness. So saying that, I'm saying this. There's no other level of happiness I can achieve. You know, if you would have set me in a house that's, you know, 10,000 square foot and put 45 Lamborghinis in the garage, there's no level of happiness I could go higher than now. Yeah, there may be a dopamine rush of just excitement, but in a very short amount of time, it's going to go back to right where I am now, right? So where I am now in my life, it's like, okay, I've achieved this happiness that I thought was going to be all this. And happiness is good, but it's like now the thing that I crave most is knowledge. The thing I crave most is information. And I'm understanding that, you know, the thing or the things that are keeping me from going deeper into that world that I'm wanting to explore are the things that I possess, right? So you know, a part of me is saying, soul, sell everything you have. Just like the prophet told the rich young ruler. That's what's tugging on my energy. And that's where I am now. So how this is going to play out, I don't know. You know, I really don't. I just wanted to share this, you know, with my family, right? I wanted to share this with you guys on Patreon, right? Just to kind of let you know, where I am in life.